and Flo. Welcome to Wonder Women Talk Show. On this show, we celebrate women who are thriving and striving in their purpose. Women who are making an impact in our society and they refuse to be defined by the societal standards. Today, I'm joined by Aina Kiiyala. She's the owner of Infinity Nails. And she does this on part-time basis and she's permanently employed. Aina, welcome.
Thank you
We are very honored to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, we'll start with your career. There was a point you mentioned on one of your social media posts when you were thanking your grandmother, and at some point you mentioned that you changed courses within some years. Can you tell us how did you get there and how were you about to quit at some point?
Okay, I think you're referring to my graduation post that I uploaded last year. So the journey started at UNAM when I registered for business administration. Well, actually, business administration was one of those courses I always wanted to do. Because if I have to go back to school, I chose business management as my field of study. So I'm always been passionate about business, economics. Those were one of my favorite subjects in school. So, and then I enrolled with UNAM just to find out, I don't know if it was lack of career guidance, just to find out that the course is more complicated than I thought. Yes, so there was no much information. You know, sometimes you don't know about something until you get to that point. So there was no much information. So I was like, okay, where am I heading to? And there was a lot of cases of missing exam scripts. I had to go through that with UNAM. So then I decided, I got so demoralized, so I got discouraged. And then I decided, no, it's okay, let me just do something else. That is when I researched and I realized that NAST was offering business management on its own. And then, and then I told my mom, like, no, I'm not going back to UNAM anymore. I don't want to do business administration anymore because at the same time, I really don't feel like I know what I'm doing. So I want to go try to business management at NAST. The support from my mom was actually good. She didn't even object to it at all. She just went like, okay, you can do that. And as well as for my grandmother, she just didn't understand why it's taking me actually long to graduate. But at the same time, we go through those things. It's not always, we always want to graduate. You want to finish your grade 12 and then 4 years down the lane, you graduate. But at some point, that is why there was I think it was 2016, I wrote an article in the Namibian about the importance of career guidance. So that is why it's very important for learners to go through a career guidance program at their schools. I even think sometimes these things start a little bit late. So I feel like when a child is in grade 7, you know, when you're in grade 7 and then you go to grade 8, like with our old curriculum, that is when you are even separated, like, okay, now you're going to grade 8A, 8B, and most of the times you are already told, like at our school, Gabriel Tapopi Secondary School, my former high school, you are told, okay, grade 8A, grade 8B, this is the subjects that you're going to be teaching, learning, especially with the mother tongue languages like Oshuambo, Oshkwanyama, or Shindonga, and things like that. And then that is when you go to grade 10, that is when you decide. When you pass grade 10, you go to grade 11, and then that's when you decide, no, I want to do science or I want to do commerce. So lucky for me, I think I've always been somebody who loved business. I think so. Going back to my primary school and then to high school. When I came to high school, I was like, I'm going to do business. So that's it. But then as to what course really in business, did I want to do? It was a struggle that I only got to find out when I went to tertiary. To UNAM. So that is when I realized that business administration, it's more complicated and I don't think it's really what I want to do. So let me try out business management. So within that process of changing, you get delayed. It's 1 year down, it's 2 year down from completing. Because I went as far as my 3rd year, and then that is when I decided to change, like, you know, I'm lost here, so let me try out something else.
So business administration at UNAM is not even the same thing with business management at NAST. And how did you find out?
I only got that when I only got to find out when I went to NAST. You see? So I did read through the whole course description that you get in your, what do you call it, the yearbook, right? But when I sat in class, in my class, and then I saw the subjects, I was introduced to the subjects, and I realized this is totally different. Because with business administration, it's a combination of almost everything, all the subjects. You have financial accounting, you have business accounting, you have business management, you have that is because, like with UNAM, then it's when you get to on your final year, that's when you get to choose where you want to major in. If you want to major in science, finance, sorry. If you want to major in finance, you want to major in HR and things like that.
Only in final year.
Yes, only in final year. So it becomes very confusing. Compared to business management there at NAS, it's straightforward. You know what you're doing. You sit in your class in your first year and you're like, okay, I see where I'm going now. So this is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm actually sticking to this.
So how did you feel that you have to change courses? Were you not just worried about your peers, or what they will say, and your mother, as you said, even if she was supportive, your grandmother on the other side didn't understand why it's taking you long?
You can't deny that you will not think about what society is saying, what your peers are saying. Your peers have graduated, you guys finished high school together, now they are done, you are still not done. But at the same time, if you let that get to you, you are going to end up saying, I would have ended up saying, you know what, let me just finish with business administration because I want to graduate with my peers, because I don't want to look like I'm left behind. It was at that point, but I think, actually I had a friend that I spoke to. She was one of my friends. I spoke to her, and she's like, you know what, if you want to go for it, just go for it. Because at the end of the day, what will matter is you're going to finish, like everybody else has finished. And what is even going to be more important is you are not going to be doing what you really want to do and what you really understand. So the pressure was there of, I'm late, my friends are graduating, and so and so and so. But at the end of the day, should always come back to you. What do you want to do? Regardless of if it's going to take you 6 years, 10 years, what you want to do is one thing that I've realized in life, that always do what you feel is right for you. Because at the end of the day, when you go to sleep, it's only you.
Yes.
Nobody else. You don't get to think about really who is doing, how the other person is doing it. It all comes back to, you ask yourself, am I really happy at this point with my life and everything? So for me, it came to that.
You are now a nail technician, and you now offer training to the upcoming nail technicians out there. How was your journey, your struggle, and your accomplishment for you to get where you are today?
My journey was quite interesting. Actually, I get excited every time I have to tell about my journey, because it's not a shortcut. Okay. That's the best thing about it. It's not a shortcut. It was a journey that I had to take step by step, and throughout that whole process, I got to learn, I got to make mistakes. So I don't know if I should tell you the beginning.
Please tell me the beginning.
Okay, right. So I think doing nails, I believe doing nails is something that I've always wanted to do, ever since I was a small child. So, and then I came to Windhoek, because I grew up in the north, like I said. I grew up in the north, I came to Windhoek. And then I will see advertisements of nail training going on. But then I didn't have the money to actually register myself for a course in nail training. So at the end of at the same time, it was actually a battle, because that is when I was going through the whole process of changing courses. Yes. And then here I am, I was telling my mom that, no, I want to start doing nails. So, you know, and our parents, they will feel like, no, so you want to leave the others just to do nails. Yeah. So I started just watching videos on YouTube. So that is how it started. I started watching videos on YouTube, and then I started buying things one by one. So I was like, okay, fine, if I can't go to a class and sit in a class, let me just watch on YouTube. So that is how it all started. And then I had a friend that did a little training. She had some products that she didn't use, then she gave them to me. So little by little, I started practicing on my siblings at home. Yes, and but I was fortunate enough because when I didn't understand something, there were some people that used to do nails, so I would ask them. So I started doing it on my siblings at home, and then there are also friends who will give you an opportunity, come do my nails, and that is all how it started. And I realized, okay, let me turn I had an Instagram personal account, so I was like, let me just turn my whole Instagram into a business page. So if you go down my Instagram page, you will see how my work has evolved over time. So as the more I go on, the more I practice, the more I change. The more I practice, the more I change. So that is just something that I used to do at home, in my room, or else in my bedroom. Yes, and then I realized that I was improving with time. Then people would be like, "Don't you offer classes? Don't you offer training?" And so and so and so. And then I realized, okay, let me just give it a try. And then that was 2017. I advertised for my first training. And I got 10 people. So it was a number that I didn't expect, but I got 10 people. And for me, I was like, it's like, this is a sign. So the most struggle that I had with trainings, coming to a point of training, was I wasn't that confident that I'm providing the right information. But then I decided to use my experience, like, okay, so because I'm already no technician, so I know that if you do this and this and this, so what I experience is what I teach out there. So I had 10 students in my first class, but the most challenging part was the venue. Where would I host my trainings? That was the most challenging part for me.
Wow.
Yes.
So growing up and looking where you are today, were you always a business person, and when did you develop the desire of just starting with business and then training other people as well?
I've always been a business person. Actually, I take chances. That is one thing with me. I remember in high school, I wasn't the smartest kid in high school, and I was always one of those kids where if there's an opportunity to go work somewhere, I'll grab it. Whatever opportunity. Even if I was going to earn $100, even if I was going to earn $50, I was like that. I was that kid. Because you see sometimes there are these shops that do stock taking, and they can get students from different schools to do that. I was always on the go. I was always part of the group. I remember doing a lot of activities or a lot of businesses and a lot of short holiday jobs just to
make money.
Yes, to make money. And one thing also, I grew up, my mom taught us how to, she would always be like, do anything, sell sweets, sell ice blocks, whatever it is that you can do to make money. Braid, go wash people's clothes. So it was also installed in me by my mom. That is one thing. So and then that is where the whole business management came in. I've always been like, no, I want to be a business person. I want to, and then when I grow up, I realized that I'm really not somebody who is willing to have an 8 to 5 job. Also, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. But I like being in control of my own life. That's the thing. So I feel like when you are employed, someone else is, controlling your life. Like 8 to 5, you must be in my office, or sometimes you must even work overtime and so and so and so. But for me, I love the flexibility of being my own boss. I get to decide my working days. I get to decide my off days. I get to decide this is my next production, this is my next strategy. So it also it comes naturally. Sometimes I think also business just comes naturally in a person. There are those who learn how to become business people, but for some people, it is, especially if you are a go-getter, you take every opportunity. Where people feel like, no, there's no opportunity here, but you feel like, no, there is an opportunity here. There is a gap that needs to be fixed here. So that is also one thing about me. So I'm like that. So it has been something that has been in me since I was growing up. That is why I remember even grade 10, now when you have to change to science or you go to commerce, my mom was strictly on, you must go do science, you must go become a nurse because you need to get a job, and you know, and I'm a stubborn child. That is one thing about me. So if I decide I'm not going to do that, I don't like that, I don't do it. I don't know why I'm like that. So if it's something that doesn't give me pleasure, I don't actually do it. So when she was telling me that, I was just like, okay, mom, okay, mom. At the back of my mind, I knew I'm not going to do science because I don't have passion for it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy injections. I don't enjoy medicine. I don't enjoy hospitals. So why should I go there just because I need to secure my job? So I'm going to do business management. I'm going to choose commerce. Even if at the time I had no idea of what I wanted to do as a business.
Eventually I will get
yes, I was like, eventually I'll find something that I can work on.
Speaking of the flexibility of being your own boss, as you mentioned, you started doing nails at home. How is it to bring clients in the comfort of your own home?
It is, and will always be uncomfortable because at the specific time when I was starting, I was not only just working from home, but I was working in my room. That is the place where I could find space. So it was very, very difficult. It was challenging just to bring anyone in your room, and sometimes to share that room with your siblings. So at the same time, you also think about them like, okay, maybe she even wants to do something, but she's also uncomfortable because they are guests. And that is so uncomfortable. There is nothing in this life that is more draining than being uncomfortable in a position, especially when it comes to your business. So that is why I say people who are in business need all the mental focus they can get, because anything that is a distraction to your business, it can cause it to cripple.
Yes.
That is one thing. So I was at the point of thinking like, now just because of thinking that, no, this is so uncomfortable, probably my siblings are also uncomfortable, I almost gave up just because of, it sounds so small, but it's a distraction on the other side. Because now even if you want to book somebody to come in, you're always like, oh, but the space. You understand? So then that is when I also spoke about not having a venue for my business. That is when I decided, you know what, I'm going to move out of my mom's house. And in Black family or just any family, it's when you say I'm moving out, it's like you are saying I don't want to be controlled anymore. But it's actually not like that. So I decided to move because I need space, not for myself, but for my business. Because it was really draining me. You know when you want to go further,
yes,
but there's something that is pushing you back. It's draining. It's not only capital that is draining when it comes to starting a business. Also the location of your business can be very draining. I think it's even more draining than capital because sometimes you can have the capital but you don't have the location. And if you don't have the location, how are you going to conduct business? If you don't have a venue, a proper venue that your clients feel comfortable, that you feel comfortable, you understand? So every time I would think of I need to do training. Now, when you are starting, you are also looking at cutting costs.
Yes.
There are obviously venues you can hire, but the price, you understand?
And you're just starting.
Yes, and you are just starting. So the price, some people even charge you 500 per day. And remember that is a 3-day course. You have to book for the venue, you have to book for the equipment like the chairs and the table. So on the other hand, you are also cutting on, you need to learn how to cut on costs, especially when you're just starting. So it's very hard to find someone to just give you something for free. It's very difficult. Yes. So that is when I decided I'm going to move out, I'm going to rent a flat. At least it will be spacious enough for me to conduct my business. And I think that when I did that, I felt so free. Because now I could choose, I will do trainings today and nothing will be in my way. Yes, unlike before where you were like, okay, I want to do training on the 7th of what, to the 8th. But then you're like, but then the venue, where am I going to conduct the training? Am I going to conduct it at home? There's no space. Am I conduct it at my office? And then you're like, but what if my boss finds out?
You don't want to take that risk.
You don't want to take that risk as well.
Wow. You mentioned that you never attended training yourself.
No.
But you are offering training.
Yes.
How did it come that you decided to offer training to others while yourself you never attended training? And did you never doubt yourself?
I did. Like I said, I did. At first, I doubted myself. Although I didn't attend actual training, there were people I looked up to, local and international. And like I think I'm a lucky girl in life. So I came across a lady who does online tutorials, and then she had left her email down below. She says, if you have any problems, contact me or anything. So I contacted her, and I have been doing like an online training
for free.
Yes, for free. Wow. On email. So you experience, like most of the times when I experience a problem, I email her, and then she would tell me, no, do this and this and this and this and this and that. And then I also had mentors, people that I looked up to, people that will guide me through the process. I don't know if you know this guy, Sam. He also does nails.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Sam, I once contacted Sam, and then I told him, no, I'm a nail technician, but I want to be a nail technician. I don't have money for training, so I need help. And then he was like, so how do you want me to assist you? And I was like, I don't know, whatever it is, I can maybe pay some fee or whatever. And then he's like, you know what, it's okay. Just do this every time you knock off from work. Because he used to work in town at Beyond Beauty. He says, you work in town? I was like, yes, I do. So every time you knock off from work, just come sit with me, and then you see what I'm doing. So for me, it was really, 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 really helpful, because it felt almost like being in a class, because when he's busy doing a client, he's also telling me, now I'm doing this because it has to be done like this and this and like that. And he was even the one that taught me my first ombre. And he's like, when you're doing this design, your brush should be like this and like this and like this, and you should hold your client's fingers like this and like this and like this. So even though I'd never sat in an actual class and got a certificate or whatever, I had people who mentored me into the whole process. And like I mentioned, I have a friend that did training with power sculpture. She gave me her products, and she was also one of those ones that I would also look up to. She will tell me, no, this happens actually because of this, and when you are doing this is the first step. This is so through just learning from those people, and then them telling me, and then me listening, and then me putting it into practice, even though it was not easy for every beginner, it's never easy. It really helped a lot. That is why I get to mention them in every interview that I had. Like, I had mentors in my life, people who mentored me into this whole course.
So this thing is even a way to hold the client's hand.
Yeah, there is. It's that's why I'm saying you need the experience. You need to sit with the client for you to educate the next person, because sometimes it's very complex. Easy to look at, but very complex. Like, most of my students will always be like, we do a 3 days training, and then in the second day, that is when they do the whole practical. Now imagine the person is just working on one person, and they'll be like, sure, I'm tired. And I'm like, you're tired? You only worked on one person on one hand, and you're just starting. And they'll be like, yes, because this is so complex than I imagined. And I'm like, yes, it's because when you look at something, it feels like I can do it as well. So it's just one small detail. It will mess up the whole process. If you don't hold the client's fingers right, sometimes it can mess up the process. If you're using the wrong brush, it can mess up the process. So it's that complex.
We only see nails looking beautiful, so we didn't even know what type of brush and holding hands. But yeah, what is the most challenging thing that you encounter in your trainings that you are giving?
I can't say it's a challenge, but it's I think what I have encountered that sometimes I also still struggle with, it's realizing that you are actually teaching a beginner, not an advanced, because I offer 2 types of training.
So
yeah, I offer at beginners, and the beginner is more complex. You need to give the students more time to digest and understand everything that is going on. So you put yourself in the student's shoe. You realize, okay, this person won't just know everything in these 3 days. They might come back to you again and ask, this is doing this is doing that, this is doing that. So the most challenging part is really educating the person to understand when they leave the class, especially the most important things. So I think that is the most challenging part, because you are sitting with somebody who needs to go out of class, and they should at least be ready to do some practicals, not even on friends or family. And you should build the person's confidence as well. That is one thing. So because when they finish with class and they realize just in the first attempt that they are not so good, they tend to lose confidence. So you must put them in a position whereby when they leave the class, they at least are able to do a set that will even last a week or 2 weeks without breaking. They become more confident. So for you to do that is when you really teach them the necessary steps to take, like this and this and this and this, and don't miss this point, don't miss that point. So I feel for me that is the most challenge that I have, because you need to really give them attention. You really need to help them gain the knowledge that they need to go out there and actually start on a level whereby they feel like I'm confident. Even if I'm not 100% there, I'm at least confident that I can start charging people. Not someone leaving the class and they are all like, why did I even register? Who will I even work on? They should have that excitement of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start charging. I know.
And I think it also gives you energy. Like, yes, I'm doing something.
Yes, I'm doing something. So that is just the whole challenge, educating somebody's. Now I even understand teachers, what they go through. So, yeah.
A beauty industry or nail technician was not really a thing when you were growing up. I remember when I did my nails for the first time when I graduated, I just did this white, as long as it was white here, and then some stripes that were silver, because that was all we knew. And now that was famous. So how did you convince your parents that I need to do nail technicians? Because no one knew one could make a living out of this. Did they all support you, your family, your friends, and most important, your parents?
That question is a very good question. Sometimes it gets me emotional. It was very challenging. I will not hide it. Then the whole truth is, the sad part is nail technicians are underrated, especially in our developing countries. They are underrated, because in other countries, a nail technician is a whole career on its own. It's like being a doctor, it's like being a teacher, it's like being a nurse, it's like being a manager, and so and so and so. But with us, it's something that is very, very, very underrated. When it comes to family and support, it was a big challenge for me. It was very, very challenging to say, no, I want to start doing nails. Because for them, it's all about how much are you even making. So do you know the possibilities of going to school, getting your qualification, and then being employed by a bigger organization, and then start making a living? So it's like that. They don't see beyond that. So it's almost like when you say, no, I want to become a makeup artist. I want to become a makeup artist as my career, people will look at you like, what? What are you doing?
Yes.
There is no wrong in going to school, getting a qualification. At least you have something to back you up if business is not going well. But we need to normalize supporting people in business management, in starting their career, when it comes to these things. Because let me say, being a nail technician, most people are just born with it. You just love it. You don't have to go to school to be educated about it. I have come across a lot of people who are self-taught and they are so good. Yes. It's like being also a makeup artist. Most of the people are self-taught. They didn't have to go sit in the class and then do this and this and this and this, but the person is just so good. Now, if the person doesn't have the necessary support from family, it becomes demotivating. Because you can't even consult them that, no, I want to take this step, because they already don't understand it.
It's in their mind.
It's in their mind. You can't discuss anything that has to do with it because they don't understand it. That is one thing I've encountered. So if now they don't understand it, you ask yourself, there was a point I asked myself, especially when I had to move out of the house. That is where I asked myself, why am I supposed to explain myself to people who decide to not listen and not to understand? It will not make sense, because it will only lead, they will only tell me what they think, right? But not what, not the support that I need to start, right? So when I moved out of my mom's house to go start my own business, because that's the only reason why I moved, because I needed space.
Even if in their mind that was not the reason.
Yes, even if in their mind that was not the reason. But my point was to, I'm going to move out and I'm going to show them what I'm capable of. So when I moved, like I said, I got the freedom that I wanted to do my business. Because now also when you are staying at home and you are busy doing nails the whole day, the people that you live with will be like, oh no, she's the only one that does business. So she can't even cook, she can't even clean now, she's just nails. You understand? But you are working because you are trying to build something step by step. So in your first years of business, that is when you have to work really hard. You have to compromise on a lot of things. You have to, if you have to cut off certain people because they are a distraction to your business, so that is something that you have to do. That is something that I did. It was not easy, especially when it comes to families. I had to do that at the time, but I knew that we will come together again, because at the end of the day, we are family. But if at this point I have to say, I'm leaving you here because I need to go on a journey that you don't understand, I will have to do that. Okay? That is why I also said at the end of the day, it always comes back to you. Are you happy when you go to sleep? Are you doing what you really want to do when you go to sleep? So that is what I tell people. For me is, if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. Because am I happy? If I'm not happy, then for me it doesn't mean. So it's very challenging. I won't deny this, especially when it comes to nail technicians, makeup artists. Those are some of those people that are very underrated. But what we are missing is the point that all sometimes people need is support. Yes. If you give the person the necessary support, it's not just financial support. So because some businesses you don't need a large sum of money to start. You don't need 10,000 or 30,000 or 100,000 to start it off for it to start kicking. They just need that emotional support. That is what they need. Because if you give somebody that emotional support, their mental well-being will be in a place whereby they are able to think, they are able to invent, and they are able to strategize correctly. So that is why I say for business people, your mental health should come first before anything, because everything develops in your mind. All your initiatives, all your innovations, it's all up here. So if you don't have mental peace, then sometimes it's going to be a very big struggle. So the support is needed, the support is lacking. It's really lacking because we are just seen as normal nail technicians. That is what I tell my students, that you need to give respect to this business. You need to give respect to nail technicians. You will find somebody saying, I'll pay month end. You know, do my nails, especially family members.
Do nails on credit.
Yeah, and then do nails. I say, no, don't do that. Because you need to have rules in place that if it's a no, it's a no. Things that you can't compromise on. Because people need to understand. So, you know, society has this thing of, it's just nails.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just nails. So what are you going to do to erase that it's just nails thing? So it all comes to you. Are you just going to work when you are lazy, or are you just, when you need some sources of fund, or you are going to be consistent in it?
I love what you said, that you told your family, like, you made a decision. I will leave you here because I'm taking a journey that you don't understand. We'll meet later.